Luke, who's our Chief Technical Officer, and we're going to do a webinar about our SmartMister range of products today. The way it will work is Stuart will mute everybody, apart from myself and Ray to start with. Ray will give a general overview of the machine and how it works, and then I'll ask him some pretty generic questions about you know, the uses of it and things like that. And then we will open up questioning to everybody at the end so that you can get time to ask Ray any questions that you want to ask. He does love the technical questions, so try and line them up ready. Yeah. Cool. So I think we'll get started at that. So if we could just get a brief overview, Ray, of the SmartMister and what it does. Okay. Well, the SmartMister is a device that we mimic nature in. What we do is we take HOCL. HOCL is the chemical liquid found in your immune system. So if you cut yourself, like I did yesterday, basically this rushes to the surface, surrounds the invasions, things like pathogens and viruses, etc., and kills it. So that's what's in our immune system, and we bottled that. We take that and we put it into this unit, and in this unit, through the back of it, if you can see, we have an activated carbon filter and a HEPA filter. So that goes in there, it sucks air in through the back, it runs it through UVC light to sterilize it, it runs it around a circulation pump, and then comes up, and from there it adopts the liquid and we turn it into a gas. So we have an atomizer that adjusts according to the sensor on the back, according to the temperature and the humidity of the room, and then it creates a gas that goes out into the air, and because the gas is lighter and thinner than air, it travels everywhere. So it gets to the light switches, it gets to the fittings, the carpet, the chewing gum underneath the desk, everywhere. And then basically, I don't know if you can see the mist coming out. So that'll keep going, and then the sensors will detect how much of this is in the air and adjust according to the room size. And if you're in it, you can, you know, breathe it in, stick it in your eyeballs, it'll kill all the pathogens, but it just makes my skin better and healthier for us. And that's kind of it. So this unit takes in HOCL, converts it to gas, distributes it around, and then that sanitizes it to a bunch of government standards. So there's a standard for cleanliness, a standard for like preparing food on your desk, and a standard for killing viruses. So it conforms to those standards. Okay, so how does this work then, Ray? So is it something that you switch on, or I know, for example, we've got SmartMisters in our offices at Bradford as well as you have in Finchampstead, and you can actually switch ours on here at the same time as you switch the one on down in Finchampstead? Yeah, there's two ways. You can use it manually and turn it on or off, or we've got an app where you can set a schedule up to say turn it on at 4 in the morning, turns off at 5 in the morning, everybody comes in to sanitize room. So effectively you can just go click, turn it on there. You can change some of the modes to have a lighter top-up mode, you know, daily mode, or if, say for instance, you're in the track and trace database and someone says your school needs to close down today and do a deep clean, you can put it into what we call auto mode on this, and it will do a proper deep clean to government standards. And then next day you can do an incremental top up from it in what we call baby mode. So there's an app that controls it. You can set the schedule, turn it on and off. You can give that to multiple people, and you can control multiple units in different sites or on the same site from it. So. And this product is a completely safe product. I mean, at the moment, since what happened last March, you know, we've all been using various different alcohol products that, you know, pretty much been ruining everyone's hands, etc. This is completely safe. Yeah, it conforms to a bunch of biocide standards that proves that it kills harmful things to mammals, but it doesn't kill mammals. And we've got all the test results for those as well in different scenarios from offices, foods, medical services. So yes, it's safe, but it kills everything. It's what they call a 6 log reduction. It's 99.9999% efficient. at killing viruses in under 1 minute. To be exact, it's 15 seconds on contact. So if this lands on the surface on my phone and my phone's lying there and a virus lands on it, the second it lands in there, it's dead. The virus is dead. If you put it into the air, it can take like a minute for it to work. But if I take, say, like a bleaching type product and I'm squirting it on and wiping it, those can take 3 hours to kill germs, whereas this is, under a minute.
Wow. So that leads on to quite an important question. So firstly, if I left an apple out overnight, say upstairs, and came back to it in the morning, and the SmartMister had been on, I presume that it'd still be safe to eat?
It is. This is already used in food preparation areas and food production. So it's already sprayed onto apples, it's sprayed onto tomatoes, it's sprayed onto corn on the cob, it's in cheese, many things. Effectively, it's the same stuff as you would get in seaside air. So when you're at the sea and the wind pushes up the air and you get salt particles in it, effectively it's salt as its base. But if I squirt that now straight into my mouth, my tongue, or that was on an apple, I don't taste it. It's got a slight salty taste, but when it's on something like an apple, it's tasteless. But it'll preserve your apple. The apple will last much longer than it would have if you didn't have anything on it.
Okay, brilliant. So a lot of people talk about fogging machines and things like that at the moment, where actually somebody's going into the building and spraying the building. What is the difference between a SmartMister and the fogging machine?
Fogging is a big subject on its own, but fogging is generally something that is done as a wet system. So I've got, this is a sort of typical fogger, yeah. And if I turn it on, you've got to wear ear defenders because it's so noisy. This takes the liquid in, it runs around with air and it squirts it out at high pressure. And it then covers everything in a wet, drippy solution, which is generally poisonous to people. And then somebody has to go in and wipe all that off with a cloth and then take all the moisture out. So you couldn't fog if you've got things like precious books. Computers would have to be taped up, you'd have to seal doors, etc. Fogging generally takes about 3 days to be a proper government level certification version of it. And this is a 1 hour automated system to do it. So this is more simplistic, and this is something that is safe for people, where fogging solutions are generally PPE equipment on, going into hazardous environment, and then making sure that it's cleaned afterwards.
So this will work in the cases of schools, for example, where actually a lesson's just been taught, say a music lesson's just been taught, and actually, the next lesson's coming in. You can put the SmartMister on for a lot of time and actually know that the kids are safe going back in again.
Yeah, one of the tests we've got is it's rolled in on a trolley. It runs for 15-20 minutes when the classroom's empty, and then the kids come in 20 minutes later. And then every chair they touch, every surface they touch with their elbows, fingers, picking their nose, it's all sanitized. So they don't have to worry or think about it at all. And all they think is that it smells really clean.
Okay.
Because this takes all the dust out of the air, and it takes big pathogens and pollen for hay fever in the summer out of the air, and changes the ions slightly. The other thing I didn't mention that is there's a built-in deionizer into this. So we take air and we deionize the air, which then basically dust particles stick to it and fall to the carpet. So it cleans the air as well.
So that's an important point. I mean, obviously over the last year, we know, Data Direct's bread and butter products has always been the print market, and we know that that's changed a lot for a lot of our dealers in the fact of, nobody has been printing as much over the last year. So what we try to do is find different solutions for customers to be able to sell different business machines within their base. So this is a completely exclusive product as well. So what we're trying to do is make sure that it's only sold to dealers. There's no end user selling as far as Data Direct is concerned. What we're trying to do is make sure that it's an opportunity for you guys to go into your existing customers and get extra sales. I think we initially thought it was part of the COVID kind of era, didn't we, Ray? But actually, the whole point of it now is people are going back to work, and it's not just going to be COVID, is it? You know, there's going to be norovirus, people are going to get colds, people are, you know, there's all these things that actually going forward are going to be really, really big deals. So, you know, this is an ongoing thing, not just for now.
There's a thing called the Wellbeing Standards coming out in September this year, and a code of practice for architects. So if you build a brand new building in Europe and the UK, you basically got to conform to the standard, and it says that if there's more than 16 people occupying the building, you have to guarantee that air quality is free of pathogens and dust and rubbish, and CO2 levels, etc. are correct. So there's a standard coming out that will make sure that anybody that occupies a multiple occupant building will have to conform to clean air and sanitizing services to a recognised standard. And that's the trick. It's basically having one of the standards that people have to follow and clean to, whereas at the moment a cleaner can take a cloth and wipe and mist-sniff a lot of it, or just clean things with a dirty cloth, so not get it right, whereas it's going to have to be done properly in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is never going to take away from cleaning, because it's never going to clean up the porridge that's on the side of the table or anything like that. You know, it's a deep sanitizing product, is this? So it'll sanitize the porridge, but it won't clean it away.
No, it's what's left over. If it's allowed to build up, nobody cleans over, it leaves a very fine salt in the grain of things. So if you put it on leather, it actually makes leather feel rejuvenating and new. And if you put it on acrylic, it makes it feel salty and bitty. But it's any virus that lands on that dies instantly. So it might look unsightly, it looks like you've not cleaned, but it's very safe. So when the cleaner comes in, they're safe. So the cleaner's in last thing at night, first thing in the morning. Everything they touch is safe from them. You can't catch viruses from it, or funguses, all these sort of things. So nothing they can get.
Okay, so as far as when we turn the SmartMister on and we clean it to a certain level, sanitize, sorry, to a certain level, what are the time kind of frames on that?
The time, you say?
Yeah, how long would you leave that on for?
So it depends on the size of the room. So normally take the length of the room, the breadth of the room, divide it by a formula, and it tells you how long in minutes to leave it on for. But say a room that takes about 60 people, in an open plan office could be as much as an hour, and then something that's got a classroom with kids with 30, 40 kids is about 20 minutes. So it depends on the size of the room and how many multi-touch areas there is. So if children are in and they're running around and they're putting their elbows on desks, then that gets wiped off more. So you need to do a little bit more. But if it's a room that only gets used once in a blue moon, it's less. So there's a formula in the manual that you can follow, very simple, that allows you to work out in time. But normally it's about half an hour to an hour in the evening, and that's enough to last for many hours afterwards.
And so just for an example, we sell the two things come together. So there's a SmartMister machine itself, and then there's a SmartMister solution. If you had the machine on for an hour a day, that bottle would last you for a month. Yeah,
so the deepest fogging level to the highest government standards, or technically 60% better than standard, this generally will last about a month or 32 days in a standard office. So if it's a smaller office, it'll last longer, bigger, less, but normally speaking, it's a month. And then at the end of the month, you take the lid off, turn upside down, fill it back up, and then clean round the machine to do a bit of maintenance. It's normally a month.
Normally a month. So I'll give you.
The app will tell you, if you install the app will tell you when it's running out.
All right.
So you can see from there when you need to replace it as well. And the machine will automatically stop when it runs out of liquid. Or if you put in the wrong kind of liquid, it will stop.
Well, and that's a really important point, and we'll come to it closer towards the end. But actually, you know, this product is being made by Data Direct to work alongside the SmartMister solution. If you put something else in there, the warranty is void, and you probably will break it. So that's
and that is 4 months of investment of time and money into different tests for the liquid in the solution, from NHS tests to Bupa things to BS European numbers. So different liquids don't have that. And silly little things like, say for instance, someone accidentally leaves this on, they put the timer on, and instead of turning it on for 12 minutes, they turn it on for 12 hours because they got the digits wrong. And that got to the stage where they left it on and they set off smoke alarms and the fire brigade come in. So they don't know if it's a poisonous thing or not. And so we've actually invested in things like cost reports that have been registered with the fire brigade and ambulance service, so that they know when they see that and they see the stickers on it, that it's a safe thing that the fire brigade can breathe in. And simple things like that are a lot of work to do. Yeah, and we've done that with our liquid inner solution to make it safe.
And that leads on to a twofold question for you, right? So one is firstly about the particle sensor and the fact of how do we prove it gets where we're saying it gets, and then how do we prove that it's doing what we're saying it's doing with the EN numbers, etc.
Okay, well, we've got these EUBS, so British and European standard numbers, and therefore proving that you've sanitized to a certain level that guarantees a kill of pathogens. We've got in the box, we do a little swab test thing that we can give you, that you can go into the track and trace database and record your asset number and your date that you did things. But basically, if you turn this on, it's in the far left-hand corner of an office, and you go round the corner where you can't see this anymore. We've got a little tool, a particle sensor, and if that number goes above 47, it means that there's enough of this in the air to sanitize the air in real time. So I don't mind talking to somebody across the desk, no masks on. And if it goes above 144, then you're actually sanitizing underneath the desk, top of the desk, and the light switches and everything. So it's 113 now, but I've not had it on long. So if I turn this on, and even though you can't actually see the mist in the room, and the reason the numbers go up and down is it travels in waves, convection currents. So it'll basically just keep going around in circles in the room until it fills it. So when that number goes up, it's a way of proving that this is actually reaching wherever you are in your building. And it just, does it start to climb now? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will then climb very quickly, and 3 minutes later, it's actually got to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And it's a great little tool for finding out that, this stuff, even though you can't see it, is getting there. So if I turn that off now, this will still climb for a little bit and shrink and climb, but it's still enough in the air. So I can't taste it or feel it in the air, but I've got a little meter that shows me that it's got there. You can then do what the NHS do. So if you Google some of the videos we got on YouTube, you'll see an NHS thing. And what they do is they take a device where they're taking swab tests out, and then they take an area and they swab the same area over and over. Then put the vial back in, break it, shake it like crazy, stick it into a handheld machine or send it back to us, and we'll do a lab report on it. And that gives you a clean score. So effectively you can open or close, and that proves that if you did this before you turned this on, and it shows you've got so many viruses, so much dirt, so much ATP life force, and then you do it after you've turned this on, and you can see after like 3 minutes that it's killed everything. If you were at a pub and you were told to close down, you do this before, and then you do it after, and then you show that you made a dramatic reduction.
And that was one of the things that you did, wasn't it, Ray? Last year when we first got a pub managed to reopen because of SmartMister.
Yeah, they were a pub in Aberdeen, and the track and trace database was saying you've had an outbreak from your pub, so you need to close down and do a deep clean. And it was costing about £3,000 every time we did a deep clean, and the loss of business. So we got this in, and what we did is we ended up putting this on, turning it on, and it turned out about 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, turned this on, and they just swapped it afterwards. Submitted that into the those little asset stickers that we give you, that you record the date, time, and the asset number, and that goes into a book, and then you can put that into the database, and then basically you can prove you made a difference, so they could open up an hour later. So effectively, although they had a COVID outbreak, they can guarantee that there's nothing that can spread in the pub.
So basically, there's two things there. So you've got the particle sensor that is more of a, I suppose, a sales tool to show you exactly where that's getting around the building. That's, so that actually, do you need one machine? Do you need two machines? That kind of thing. And then obviously there's the swabbing, which is getting things to insurance level. And that again in itself is an extra cost to that. But actually, some companies will want something like that, will want the proof that actually, physically it's doing what it says it's doing.
Yeah, or you can trust the British standards. So because the British standards for it have tests that people had to do, that basically everything from light fittings to putting live viruses in boxes and then shielding them and seeing how quick they die, how long it takes them to die. So you could trust one of the British standards that this conforms to. And then if you run the app, it will show you that it was turned on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you've kept up with your sanitation levels. So you can do that, or if you don't trust any of that, you can actually do a swab test there and then, send it off to an independent lab or invest in the equipment, do it yourself, or we've invested in it so we can do it for you.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The amount of actual levels that we've actually got the product to. We're quite happy to give you all this information to take directly to your customers to talk about. That's no problem at all. We're happy to do that out of the way.
And we've got in documentation, we've got after sales sheets that have got all the technical spec, the standards that it conforms to, how big a room that it does. And then all the standard questions and answers that you get. Is it compliant? Is it safe? Does it kill viruses? Links to little videos and things. So in directions of use, how to actually use it. So over and above the manual, there's lots of documents for the different products that we give you and you can rebrand.
Just before we move on to the next range, Ray, we did also another a test kind of side of it with the chiropractor, didn't we? How did that go?
Yeah, one of the very first ones, April last year, chiropractor that I go to had to shut down when they told everybody to shut down, and they went to the governing board and said, what do we need to do to open? They said, you've got to prove that you're sanitised, but they couldn't find any way of proving that because they couldn't find any standards or any cleaning companies or anybody that could find them anything to do. So they got a code of practice of how to try and clean, work towards that. I volunteered to put this in as a test. So we put this in, and when they were doing their system, they went from seeing people every 15 minutes, and they've got 4 chiropractors and rooms upstairs doing massages and sports things and a gym in the back of it. They went to seeing people every 15 minutes to every hour and 20 minutes because after every patient, they had to wipe down, clean, rubber gloves, change PPE, millions of wipes every week, boxes. So to do all that. And we put this in, ran it, and basically we did a swab test afterwards and got that down to 20 minutes. So now they run this at night, sanitize the building overnight, and then they've got the squirt 2 version, so the same solution in a bottle, and then they squirt that on the beds and things afterwards, and that was good to go. So they went from an hour, 1 patient per hour, losing all their income, to back to 20 minutes in between people. And now they say it smells really clean, and we put a sticker on the window saying "Sanitize overnight by SmartMister," and that actually brought new customers in to them that they hadn't got before because people trusted the fact that they're taking those measures. So it was quite a nice case study of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Could we just give a quick show of how we would the maintenance on this, and then we'll move on to the next range?
Maintenance is normally just done when the liquid runs out, which you can't see in the camera. There's a little light inside there that shines so you can see it, but the liquid's here. So when that runs out, there's a basin of liquid at the bottom, and then you take the lid off. It's going to drip because it's not empty now. Yeah. Take that off so that the container of liquid, and then the inside, which I can't tip it upside to show you because it's full of liquid, you basically take some clinical wipes, or wipes that have no lint or anything in them. You isopropanol and ultrasonic wands, and basically run around the transducer, clean off any excess salt crystals that builds up with that, break the salt up with this that may form and then just repeat that, and then wipe off any excess salt that's coming through any of the seals that are not making perfect contact. And that's normally it. As long as you do that, it's fine. The only other thing you have to do is take a microfiber cloth and occasionally wipe the filter off in the back of it. And as long as you do that, that's generally all the maintenance there is. So it's not a lot to it. It's just making sure that it's free of dirt if it's put in a dirty environment.
On a personal note, I will say that we've got one of these downstairs at Bradford and one upstairs, and the girls in the office have all taken to turning it on again during the day purely because it makes the skin feel really soft.
It does. It's actually sold as a skincare product in medical fields. If you go to Boots the chemist, you can buy this with a different label in it, sold as a skincare thing that you put on for £94. Wow. Same size. Yeah, it's really good for your skin. And there's a few clinical studies going through at the moment that basically show you as a skin product, it gets absorbed into your skin and turns on your immune system, basically. So if it's on your skin, like sea air, gets triggered, and then it produces HOCO from the inside and effectively tackles a bacteria, funguses, etc., all from the inside and from the outside. Mm-hmm. So it's good for your skin and it's good for your health.
Well, and plus as well, last year, the guy, one of our warehouse guys who's got really quite bad allergies as far as hay fever is concerned, he almost didn't notice them.
Yeah, they so on allergies, etc., where it's good is it strips out all of the rubbish that's in the air. So all the big things that people go into their lungs, and if they're below 7 microns, get pulled into their bloodstream. So this takes those out of the air and replaces them with salt. And salt we've already got in our body, so it's quite good, and it boosts your immune system. The guy with the asthma, we gave the little car one to, and he basically took that home in his car, and then as he put it, he never actually noticed it was on, didn't bother his asthma. But next day, he put it back on and he noticed that his car was actually smelt really clean for the first time ever. And then the day after that, he took it, put it in his bedroom. He said it cleaned all the air in his bedroom, and now he won't give me it back because here's somebody with asthma that's basically found something that's taken all the dust and the pollens out of the air and all these sort of things. And he says it makes his room and his car smell really nice because it removes fungus. If there's any fungus in the air and mushroom spores, it basically kills them, so you don't have the thing that holds the smell that irritates your nose and the electrons in your
Which is one of the things with hay fever, I presume, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a guy in the office last summer. He's really bad with hay fever, so he's always on his app the day before working out whether he's going to be in work, whether he's taking tablets. And we've had this on every night, and then basically he never even once noticed it had any problem. And we'd be back onto farmland, and the windows opened, and no problem at all. So yeah, he was really impressed with it.
So and from the success of the SmartMister, we've kind of developed into more and more products, haven't we, Ray? So the big machine is the one that does the deep sanitize, and then we've moved on to the portable ones, which is the one that you've got in your hand there.
Yeah, we're doing one that will it's got a battery in it, so effectively you can take it into a small toilet, and then not worry about the toilet seat that the person before was in there, and do smaller areas. So I've got these in like a taxi firm that puts it into a taxi whilst they're in between people, and he's going to have a cup of tea. So that sanitizes his taxi, then he just wipes down a couple of bits, but it saves him a fortune in wipes and time. And then in just smaller rooms. But it's like this room is just big enough to have a small meeting room, about 6 people in it. This would be enough to do this desk in this area. So
this is what we use generally for, if we're having meetings in our meeting room here, we'll have this on at the same time. So it's just keeping us, that little bit more protected. And you're right with the car side of it, as far as taxis, maybe even lorry cabs or anything like that's concerned. If they actually had a number of these, you put them into the cab, then you actually know that after 10, 15 minutes, all the surfaces are sanitised again. And away you go.
It's really good at that, and it's also great in taxis for getting rid of BO. So if somebody's got lots of BO after being on a long train journey and jumps in a taxi, the fungus that causes you to smell in BO and the gas that people emit, it basically makes that in nothing under 1 second. So it's great at getting rid of that sort of smell as well.
So this one's slightly. So this one's obviously smaller than the main one. We do have a car one that we're about to launch as well that will slot into your cup holder. That will be USB charged, but will be constantly USB charged. Whereas this one, it is charged up, and I think the one that I've got at home has lasted me over 2 or 3 days of this without being recharged up. So you can take it wherever you need to take it.
Yeah, it depends on how much you use it. It's got a few different modes, and then some people turn the light on. It takes more battery up, but there's it's about 4 hours to 10 hours depending on how you use it. I've got somebody phoned me a question with that the other day, and they're basically using it as a night light. So when they wake up, they're turning this on and they're sleeping with the thing on. And then they're using the light on it, and there's all different ways of using it. But you can plug it into USB if you've got it, or if you use it on battery, between 4 and 10 hours, depending on the mode that you're using it. If it's got a continuous on mode, and then it's got a mode that turns it on, off, and then it's got the same thing with a built-in light if you want to use it as an illumination with it as well.
So these ones are more for your personal space. That's what they'll do, is your personal space. They will never take away from.
No, they wouldn't sanitize the room to government standard. They'll just stop it all getting worse and keep it topped up. So if you run this during the night, come in, put that in your meeting rooms, it'll just keep it all topped up. And it's of a level that it doesn't bother you, you don't even notice it's running, doesn't get into your nose and make you sneeze, these sort of things.
And this one would even be good for things like shops, wouldn't it? I suppose, and hairdressers. There's a sign there that actually comes with the,
Yeah, so basically you've got, say, fish and chip shop, as you go to a counter or a cafe, they've got a little sign up saying, this mist is protecting staff and customers. One of these beside it, a couple of the regulations it's doing, it's killing all the viruses to this. And then for the staff to read a little bit of instructions and how to reorder, but and a link to a video that makes you understand how it's actually working. But a sign that comes in the box with this, that you put on the end of a counter, hairdressers, chip shop on a counter, so that when you're transferring money or something, you feel better about it. You don't have to keep sanitizing and wiping things all the time.
The great thing about these, you can always put a sticker on something like that as well to get a repeat business for the SmartMister solution at the same time as well.
Yeah. These can actually use more liquid up than the big one, because the big one will automatically adjust to the room and do things, and this just pumps it out all the time. So you can end up selling more of the 5 litre liquids when you sell these as well. And people get addicted to this because it's really good for your hair and it's good for your skin, and gets rid of acne and stuff like that. So they find all sorts of strange uses of it.
Honestly, if we did have a camera upstairs, I'd show it. The girls literally turn it on all the time because it makes the hair feel better, the skin feel better. The plants grow at a rate of knots. All the green plants love the solution.
Yeah, it was. I originally used this in product that was to grow lettuce in Singapore. So it was A-frames of indoor, turning a car park into growing food sort of thing, and it stops things from eating the food source, and it turns out it actually helps to accelerate the growth of green plants because it gives them a really nice environment and there's no hostile invaders. You've got things like Scotland midges and mosquitoes. They don't like this either because it basically takes a lot of CO2 out of the air, so they don't like it. So you've got an awful lot of ways of cleaning things with this, and plants love it. They really grow. Green plants, pampas will end up growing about 4 to 7 times faster though, which might be a problem because they literally will grow really quickly in front of your eyes.
Yeah, we've certainly noticed that. So what we'll do now is we will open up to everybody, but what I'll just do is run through a couple of things because this is recorded and we put it on our YouTube website. We will not talk about any prices at all while we're on here. So if you need anything to do with pricing, then please get hold of your account manager afterwards and ask them for any information on that. As far as any extra technical information is concerned, obviously you'll be able to talk to Ray, but if there's anything that you think of afterwards, then email either your account manager or support@smartmister.co.uk. We have no problem as well doing something like this for your customers. So if any of your customers are interested in buying a particular amount, etc., again, we have no interest in selling to them. So actually, we have no problem with doing something like this for them, where it's a live Q&A as well. If you want to steal Ray for a little bit. So yeah, if we could open up, Stuart, that would be lovely, and we'll take any questions if that's okay. Stop me talking for 5 minutes. That's always good.
No, we're here for the questions.
What's the Scav enabling? What's the life expectancy of the product?
I don't know is the quick answer. This product was originally made for hotel market as a humidifier, and that's generally about 5 years. I would say somewhere between about 3 and 5 years. It depends on how well you maintain it. So there's only 2 moving parts in it: a circulation fan and a transducer. And the transducer has got a 25-year lifespan normally with it, and the fans generally have about 5 years. And that's the only 2 things that can really break down on it.
So this product did start its life as a humidifier, but it's obviously been modified quite heavily by us. So the warranty is fully with Data Direct. So there's a year warranty with it, and then we can extend that warranty, if you like, to a 3-year warranty. There's a lot of companies that are looking now to lease the product. So we've got Brenker and Siemens are both now letting our customers lease the products. So actually, things like the warranty, etc., take it up to a certain level to be able to get it over there. But we're more than happy, so long as it's maintained in the right way and the 2 products are used together. It should last easily the 5 years.
And we've got this, like the CE documents and a few other things about to do the maintenance of it as well. So we have got a list of things that need to be done over periods, but it should be run about sort of 3 to 5 years with it.
All the brochures, are they the electronic ones that you've emailed us, or so we can just print those out in our own format?
You can. There's an editable version that you just got space to change your logo and change your phone number at the bottom and the website address. So it's all your information. So I wouldn't say that they're sales documents. They're more after sales things that are full of technical spec and why you trust it, etc. But we've got a Dropbox folder that's got all the clip art that you could use for your own website, all of the documents that we've created. You can put your own logos on, links to videos and things. So
that's one thing we're really committed to, and it's been a bit of a learning curve for us in ways of finding out how to do this properly. But what we're trying to do is make sure that every reseller gets as much information as they can, but they need to now sign up to be a reseller of this product. What we don't want, what we've made sure of is that we have not changed the pricing for anyone on this product. So if you buy 100 or you buy 1, you get exactly the same price. And the reason why we've done that is to make it fair, because we think that all you guys, this is a really good opportunity that you can actually sell a product at the same price as everybody else and be on the same even keel as everybody else. So actually, if Ray sells to one of his friends, I can't jump in and do it cheaper. This product is something that really, really needs to be sold. So actually, it's not something that you just put on the internet at a price, and we won't let people do that. If they do, we'll look to stop them doing that. That's for sure. So we'll try and support you as much as possible.
Yeah. Anyone else?
David Shepherd from Olympia. Just one quick question. Is there? I know you didn't want to talk about pricing, but you've mentioned pricing. Is there a published RRP on this product or not?
There is, but do you know what? As well, I actually can't remember it. So I'll have to email you that through.
It's 590.
599. Yeah.
590 or 570, something like that.
I think it's like 599.
Plenty of margin in it, Shep.
Yeah.
It's 599 for the basic product, and then there's a leasing version with a 3-year warranty and a kit, which is most people doing at 1200.
Yeah, so we'll
Lovely,
get
thank
that sent across to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And just one other question. Is it a UK manufactured product?
I would say that it's assembled in the UK. We buy in the components from a Panasonic company in Taipei, and we then put it in a factory here and change its use and modify it. So it has to have a British stamp on it to say that it's assembled in Britain, but some of the components come from China. The plastic molding comes from China. Transducer comes from Japan.
Right.
And then we buy the components and assemble it here. So it's
One last question. Apart from the fogging machines, which obviously different process, is there any competition to this device in the UK?
There's people that do.
Sorry, guys, got it.
There's companies that are doing big versions of this to say do a gym or a big open space, you know, a really big space that would hold hundreds and hundreds of people. So there's people that are doing bigger things, but they're all like £6,000 upwards, and it's specialist PPE equipment and all sorts. There's not many people doing a small version that will do office space and smaller things. There's a couple of companies that are trying to copy what this does, but they're not investing £18,000 in doing the certification. They're not going to the fire brigade and getting it registered and stuff like that. So there's not much competition that I've been able to find.
I think it's that proof as well, isn't it, Ray? I mean, that's the thing, is they can say it does something similar to this, but they can't actually prove it. And that's the one thing that you've got with the SmartMister, is we can prove it. Everything that we're saying, you know, we can prove it. And a lot of these other companies that are out there, they just can't.
Yeah, it's a lot of work going into that.
Yeah.
And it's still ongoing. There's a new.
I believe you. I'm going to call.
Sorry.
I'm going to call you in a week, though, Ray. See if your tongue's still in one piece.
The one that's actually really impressive, yeah, is this. So straight in my eyeball, yeah.
Oh wow.
No,
Wow.
I was only joking.
So that one, one of the things you can do that looks really impressive is get a piece of bacon, leave it out in the sun for 3 days. It starts to grow mold on it. Yep. So obviously when you're handling it, make sure you handle it properly. And then take this or take that one, turn it on, and you can actually watch after about a minute the mold disappearing in front of your eyes all dying. It's really groovy to look at. You can do something similar.
This is
Still
like one of those.
recommend eating the bacon though.
This is like one of those TikTok things that my nieces watch. You know, those life hacks.
Yeah, it's bacon because bacon has a bacteria in it that's part of the taste. That's why it goes silver in the sun. It changes to a light brown and goes silver because that's actually bacteria growing. And the bacon has a fat tissue in it that when it mixes comes out as white fluffy stuff. So it's already got a bacteria that's growing in it. That's why there's not a shelf life and why you can't prepare it outdoors in sunlight and things. So it's yeah, bacon's a funny thing. Yeah, but it is a safe biocide. This is what we have in our immune system. So inside my body, you know, I cut that. I probably should have got stitches on it. And I just squirted it a lot and it's already healing. And it heals at 10 times faster rate. And that's clinically proven by, you know, lots of studies. That's a study by some doctors up in Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, basically saying that if you inhale this in directly every day, it acts like an antibiotic and it will improve your health dramatically.
So we all know Ray's actually 155.
No.
In case
And there's basically reports on a bunch of doctors saying that if you inhale this, how like sea air, it basically triggers your immune system because we've already got this inside us. This is just what we've got. People found a way of making it, and it's been used in the food industry for a long time, which used to be really expensive. And it's safe. It's a safe balance.
Anyone else got any questions? Or did we cover most of it? Did we do all right? That's unusual. There's normally a couple of people, but we have had the last few meetings actually, we've covered pretty much everything, which has been good. So what will happen after today as well is Stuart, who's the DD admin today, will send everyone who's been on a little email with the video from today, just so that you've got like a little memento from the day. We'll also send you a couple of brochures on the product itself, and obviously then you can get in touch with your account manager to sort out as far as becoming a reseller is concerned. I think there's some great opportunity here for everybody. You know, like I say, it's a product that actually it's still a business machine to be able to sell, but it's an ongoing thing. You know, it's not, well, yeah, that's certainly clean now. It's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. It's something that we're all going to be living with for a long, long time. So it's definitely a product for you guys to sell. And from there, I'd just like to say thanks for all coming on, and we will hopefully see you on our next launch of a new product.
Very much.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for today. Take care, everyone.
See you all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Any other questions?